With a great deal of difficulty, Dead Man is able to take possession of a Buddhist man. Owing to his brain training, it is difficult for a Dead Man to take possession of this person, like trying to put on a tight woolen sock. In spite of the difficulty, he's able to take control of the man and rushes over to a nice home. Dead Man expects to find his enemy here, an assassin known as Sensei, but instead he finds a happy family with a sleeping infant. For some reason, Dead Man becomes confused. He says, "Why am I here? There is no Sensei. Is there also a room with a sleeping monster? Adorable. Okay, he's cute. Worth a minute of my time. Hiya, kid. Gotta love you, kid, but tomorrow your parents, in this lousy world, could be dead by the hands of the Sensei. Just as you will be rendered more than dead this day, Boston Brand. You will torment me no more, and no longer. You are mine. Sensei, damn you. Stand still for my rage and vengeance. What? What are you doing to me? Stop! Ah! Stop! Back! Back, you inhuman scum! Get back to hell! You simple fool, you think this dimension offers you more than your old reality. This is my dimension to control, to use on you, Shuck. What the? Repeat that! Repeat that! This... I'm sorry. This is what waits for you here, with worse to come. Oh god, that's my... Oh lord, you Wait, my chest, it's okay. Ow! A worthy blow. What did you do to me? How can you even be here? Here? Here in this dimension, you are a babe in arms, while I am a master. The only babe you will destroy is that one! Look, you idiot! At the baby! He's dying! No, my living soul! Living soul, wait, hold on. So, baby? Oh, because babe is supposed to also be baby? Jesus Christ. We're only 2 issues in. Alright, we have to stop here. Let's just go to the review. We're gonna just start the review now. Number 8. Dead Man. Okay, so if you'll notice, we just did something that we almost never do on this channel. I just read the actual dialogue of the comic, uncensored, without simplifying it or summarizing it the way we normally do. And the reason I did that is because the dialogue of this comic is so insane, I had no way to present that other than to just read it to you guys and help you get a sense of just how wrong it is and how little it makes sense. This comic is amazing. When people were voting for it, one person said that Dead Man the series was everything he expected it to be, and therefore it was one of the worst comics he read of the year. And that is, I cannot come up with a better summary of that line, because that's perfect. In case you're wondering why this is because Dead Man is written, and that part's really important, and drawn by Neal Adams, a legendary Batman artist from the 1970s that reinvented the character. If you've seen images of Batman in this big blue encompassing outfit with that gothic look, that's Neal Adams. And if you like Batman the Animated Series from the 90s, in no small part it was inspired by work done by Neal Adams way back in the day. Thus, in turn, if you like the modern take on Batman, it too was inspired by this take on Batman. And I want to say all of that because it's very important to understand how big a deal Neal Adams is in the comic book world and as an artist. He's very prolific and was important in shaping the modern comic book industry, not just Batman as a character, but the whole industry and what we think of when we think of comics being published these days. He helped transform it from the golden and silver age take comics to the more all ages and adult-oriented content we get today. So he's a big deal. But the reason that people knew what to expect out of Dead Man is Neal Adams has never been the strongest writer in the world, and these days, when he publishes something, it's more like Batman Odyssey. And if you don't know what Batman Odyssey is, you might actually want to check it out. Last time I talked about that miniseries was in the top 10 comics that are so bad they are good. And that's pretty much what Dead Man is. It gets to the point that I would almost recommend you pick up one of the issues of the 6 that were published in 2018 of this series because it's so preposterous and insane it's actually worth reading. However, I don't think I'd go so far as to recommend the whole series, because the whole series is just this endless nightmare of insane dialogue and the same kind of artwork from Batman Odyssey. None of that is too surprising given that Deadman was a big character in Batman Odyssey to begin with, and in a lot of ways it kind of feels like Batman Odyssey Part 2 in this Deadman series. I don't know if Deadman the series has anything to do with Batman Odyssey, because I honestly just can't make sense of this thing, but it has the same kind of ideas going on behind it, where it's got so much stuff going on and so much craziness and so much bad dialogue that the whole thing is a mess. But in that mess are some pretty cool ideas. Near the end of issue 2, Deadman finds himself surrounded by all these cool characters, the Spectre, Etrigan, and the Phantom Stranger. And that's like a really cool moment, but the actual moment's a huge mess. So it'd be really cool to see those 4 characters all working together to solve this mystery or something, but that's not what we get. Instead, we get this insanity that I don't even know how to make sense of it. But yeah, if your local comic book store has one of these issues on hand, I do recommend you kind of pick it up. I'm sure you'll get it for a cheap price, and it's fascinating. The whole thing isn't even a good lesson in how to write or how to frame a comic by not doing what it does, because it's such a mess that it doesn't even get simple things like sentence structure. And I get why DC published it, because a name like Neil Adams will sell, plus there's crazy people like me who are going to see something like Deadman, like a shark sees prey, and are going to want to read it because it's interesting in and of itself. Deadman so far out of the 2018 worst of list is the first title we've encountered that actually is somewhat entertaining because it's so bad. Something like Iron Fist is pretty bad, but it ventures into mediocre territory enough that it just becomes deeply boring and unentertaining. In comparison, Deadman is so entertaining. It's awful, and if you go through the entire series, the entertaining aspect of it dies down pretty quickly. That's why I really only recommend one issue, and literally any issue, because who cares about the overall continuity? You're not going to understand it, even if you are going from issue 1. But as you read all 6 issues, I find it does start to weigh down a little bit on me. It starts to go from being entertainingly bad to just pathetic, and I kind of feel bad for Neil Adams. I don't know how to feel about all of that. I mean, the man's an adult, and how I feel about his comic really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but it's just fascinating that a legend in the comics can take over his own series like this and turn it up that much. It's also worth noting that I don't think anyone expected this series to be the greatest thing ever. As we go deeper into the worst of list out of what people voted for on 2018, I think there's a lot more things out there that people at least wanted to be good, that upon discovering that it wasn't, it stung a lot more. That Deadman is kind of worse than a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about from a production standpoint, but even in just a storytelling standpoint, is kind of second fiddle to the fact that nobody expected Neil Adams to create a masterpiece here, because anyone who knew enough about Batman Odyssey would know better than to expect that out of him. But that's okay, because next up is going to be another best of, and it's a cool comic book series that struck a chord with a lot of people. And it feels like a wonderful victorious moment for a superhero character that had been a long time coming. So stay tuned for that, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep reading comics.